Hello and welcome to the first of two episodes of Hearts of Wulin that is being done with a number of podcasters. We have with us today Agatha Cheng of Asians Represent, who is here. We have Eric Farmer and Eli Kurtz of Jianghu Hustle. And we have Sherry Stewart, who is taking over as co-host of the Gauntlet podcast for one of the episodes. We just recorded the first one with her. So that is on there, and we're very excited about that. This is part of the Gauntlet Hangouts. If you're interested in knowing what that is, or you're interested in the Gauntlet, you can check out that at gauntlet-rpg.com. I will also have links for the podcasts that I've just mentioned in the event description so that people can go and check those out. So just so you know that. So what we're doing today is we're playing Hearts of Wulin, which is a PBTA, Powered by the Apocalypse game, intending to emulate Wulin romantic kind of fantasies. In particular, I am drawing on the Wulin dramas from Chinese television, including Proud Twins and Laughing in the Wind and Flying Fox of Snowy Mountain. These are all great ones. These are originally based on pulp novels from the 50s and 60s and 70s. So this is very much third hand. This is very much we are emulating a drama series rather than emulating anything historical or anything accurate at all. This is all fantasy, and I am super white. So this is me giving my appreciation for television shows that I just adore because they're all about melodrama and people not being able to talk to one another, and then they break out into fights. And so that is the kind of thing that I love. So our game is going to be stories about people with heightened responses and people who talk obliquely about feelings. We have a set of rules, a hack that I've written that we are working on, and our players are going to be engaged in entanglements throughout this. So one thing I want to mention then is that my intention is to be respectful of the source material, that while we may be engaging in fantastical elements, we are not engaging in parody. And to that end, we are using a very basic safety tool. We have the X card on the table. The X card is a way of marking when we hit content that you find problematic, objectionable, or even off tone. Any of those things are a reason to X card, and that can be done with a straight mark like this, or as a note in the chat. If we do that, I might stop to ask exactly what the frame is, but we'll go past it. We'll edit past it with not a problem. This also includes if something has happened once or twice, and the first couple of times you're like, oh, I'm okay with that. And then later on it starts to bug you. You are still legit to put the X card out there. Even if you've let it pass before, if it started to bug you, you can use the X card then. X card is a very simple safety tool. It's a very basic safety tool. There are a lot more sophisticated ones out there, but that's the one I fall back to for short-term sessions. I think that's the main thing. So what we're going to be doing today is we are creating characters that come from the world of Wulin. All of our characters know some form of martial arts. They've all trained in that way, and they are entangled with other people, both the fellow PCs and with NPCs, and we're going to play out stories based on that. And those relationships are going to drive most everything that we do today. And that's the basic play. So that is it. I've talked a lot. I do want to mention that I am from Indiana, so I have a substantial Hoosier accent. So if at any point you cannot understand what I am saying, it is perfectly fine to say, could you please repeat that? Because I taught for a year on the East Coast, and I got called out on that many, many times because my accent was strange and foreign to them. So that is on the table as well. So what I want to do is go through, and I know you've had a chance to look a little bit at the playbooks, and maybe let's talk about what everybody wants to do, and then we can walk through the character creation process, the steps that we're going to do with that. So Agatha, you mentioned you have a particular entanglement that you want as well, but you've thought about playbook that you want?
Yeah, I mentioned no, I don't remember what I mentioned. I think I mentioned the rebel and also something else. I don't remember. Something from, I think it was like the sensei one, maybe?
Oh, the master?
I don't remember. I mean, I can pull up the email right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, the master specialization from the aware or the rebel from the outsider.
Okay. Okay.
Depending on how political we want to make our story, if we want to go more political, then I can go with the rebel.
I'm good either way. Well, let's check with Eli and Eric and see what they're thinking about. What are you thinking, Eli?
Well, I was looking at either the Bravo, the Loyal, or the Outsider, and I wonder. I really like the angle of the Rebel, so that's something that I would be totally fine with. I also like the Master angle too, Agatha. I'm curious. Have you ever done a game where multiple people pick the same playbook?
Wait, so you basically want to take the ones that I just said?
Oh no! I was just saying that I like your choices there, and I'm cool with you picking either one of them.
Oh, I see. If I were to do the
outsider, I think I want to name my character Agatha too.
She's real, huh? What's the word for it?
Yeah, well, I have had people do the same playbook, so long as they take different roles. Sure. And then I ask them to negotiate about the moves. So they take, because there are 8 moves under each playbook, I ask them, it gives us some room to pick different moves from those sets.
Sure.
So we had that a couple of times.
Well, if I had to narrow it down to 2, I think I would go with the Wanderer from the Outsider playbook or the Swordsman from the Loyal playbook.
Okay. Wanderer, Swordsman.
Okay, so since everyone seems to want to lean towards either the Outsider or the Loyal, well, it's fine. I won't take the Outsider.
Let's see what Eric is thinking.
So I've got a couple that I'm thinking about. I am thinking about being some sort of like a hidden character. Mm-hmm. Like maybe I am a part of, like, an adopted part of a family, and I have a secret master and that sort of thing. That was sort of a like Ren from Crouching Tiger. Mm-hmm. Or the other thing I was thinking about was, in a completely opposite way, was being sort of like Gordon Liu's character from Return to the 36th Chamber, and at the beginning where he like pretends to be a monk and like travels around and gets in trouble. Mm-hmm. So
like one of the Bravo
mm-hmm. things here? Or like a trickster or wanderer. Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah. So Sherry, do you have any thoughts?
I've picked my picture.
Okay. That's so you've got your pictures, and does that give you a hint as to what playbook you want?
I've played all the playbooks, so I can fit her in anywhere. I will be interested to hear what y'all want to do, and I will round out the quartet. Or if no one wants to make a decision, I'll just take whatever everyone wants most, and guys will have to divvy out what's left.
All right, Agatha, if I had to make you make a choice right now, which one would you choose?
Well, I was also looking at pictures, and I've come across one that I feel like would fit one maybe more than the other. Okay. So I guess I will be the rebel.
Okay. All right. So we have then outsider rebel. Eli, with that in mind, if you had to pick one right now, what would you choose?
Oh man. Okay. So I think I will go with Agatha, I kind of want to be outsider buddies with you. I think I'm going to go with the Wanderer.
Listen, I mean, wait a sec. So, well, you're cool with that, or because I can totally choose from something else. Like,
No, if you because they're the base role moves are quite different. The only thing is I'll have the two of you kind of negotiate on the two playbook moves that you want to take of that when we get to that process. If you guys are cool with that,
it's fine with me.
Yeah, I'm okay with that too. If you're
okay.
cool with it.
All right, let's do that. Eric, now you know that we have a wanderer and we have a rebel.
Right. Well, then I might as well go with the hidden then.
Okay.
So we don't end up with 3 outsider playbooks. That seems
good.
like too far. Plus, I had a picture earlier that I really liked, so I will
we'll figure that out.
Drop that into chat.
Awesome
for the hidden.
Sherry. So we have the unorthodox hidden. We have a rebel. We have a wanderer. What do you want to choose then as your character that rounds out this quartet?
It is clear that I must play the long-suffering loyal then. Really
okay. And which of the loyal do you wish to do?
Oh, they're also delicious. Hold on a second. I think that I would like to play the loyal child or devoted child.
Okay.
Yes, and I am traveling, I think, like getting ready to get married. Does that make any sense?
Okay. All right. So if we could, let's go to the CC Basics tab, CC1 Basics. What I'll have you do is go through the first 4 steps. Essentially, the look and the name, coming up with a name for your style, which of the 5 elements it's associated with, and what kind of weapons, if any, you use with it. And then chi, those are your stats. Like in other Powered by the Apocalypse games, you'll get to choose and assign those. They are based on the Chinese elemental system, and they work much like approaches in Fate Accelerated, or like the moods in the Veil, where when you go to roll for most things, you'll actually choose which chi you think represents your attitude or your approach to it. With the exception of when you fight, you always use your style element. You roll with that to fight. So you can go ahead and choose a column and get started on that. When we're done with that, I'll have everyone do introductions, and then we'll start talking about the entanglements. Any questions? Okay, I'm going to let you go.
Okay, I see that we got 2 dudes as characters already and 1 lady, and now I feel like we should balance it out. So I should play a lady as well.
I mean, I can play a lady. I can switch pictures.
No, it's cool.
Okay.
If you want to play that person, I will refer back to my Pinterest board.
Yeah.
Pinterest is such a lifesaver.
Oh yeah, but also sucks your time away.
It's just as bad as TV tropes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I know very little about my character besides the style name, but it's going to be Lashing Waves at the Water Margin.
Ooh.
Nice.
So Agatha, what kind of moves are you thinking about for your character?
I haven't really looked at them, to be honest. So, yeah, like, do you have any?
Let's see. There is the move Have Sword Will Travel. Once per session, you may announce your presence in the perfect place to help someone, ignoring the limits of time, distance, or plausibility. I like that one a lot.
Take it.
And, cool. All right. Yeah, that's the only one that's really sticking out to me right now. But
Okay, I want to take a deadly secret.
Yeah.
that sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
I was thinking about Heroes Shed No Tears. But it's maybe a little more toxic than I want to be. Or differently toxic, I guess.
It's up to you. I mean, it's pretty interesting. I don't think I'm going to take it, so.
Okay, cool. Yeah, if you're not thinking about it, then I'll go ahead and scoop it up.
Only made the Plum Blossom Bandit, but other than that, I think I'm doing pretty well.
Oh my gosh. Sweet Harks Butterfly Murders is on Amazon Prime.
Oh, okay.
It is clearly a transitional movie between him doing sort of Shaw Brothers style martial arts films to him being himself. And there's like a moment like halfway through the film where he goes from it being a kind of ordinary film to it going to 11. And it is truly, it is crazy. And the print is terrible.
Right?
So yeah.
Now a name.
Yeah, this is the hardest part for me.
Yeah. That I have a list of factions and names with examples there to help out. I'm going to give everyone a couple more minutes, and then I'm going to move to introductions.
I have a question.
Absolutely.
So for factions, because I am fully bringing on that kind of like courtly politics.
Mm-hmm.
Can my faction be like a house? Does that work?
Yeah, you could make it the imperial authority. You could make it whatever governor is running a particular area. It could be a family of nobles, or you could be rebelling against authority within the Wulin world. Yeah, anything you want to do with that, we'll work with.
Okay, I would like to be the Emperor's niece, ? But maybe I'm going to dress as a man. Whatever. Anyway, but I would like to be related to the Emperor, so
okay.
How do I do a faction with that?
I think then you should decide sort of what's most important to you now. As a rebel, what are you rebelling against?
I mean, on the surface, I'm not a rebel.
Okay.
On the surface, I'm just like, oh, I just want to go and like, I don't know, enjoy life, take a stroll through the countryside. Is my cover.
Right.
But what I want is revenge, I think.
Okay.
Or maybe power.
Okay.
Yeah.
But who are you rebelling against then?
The Emperor.
Okay. Then your faction can be, you can say the imperial household, or you can say the empire as your faction there, because it really defines where you get some of your push through. That's what those bonds are about, is what's driving you. So it makes sense to have that. It might not be that we have the emperor or the imperial authorities come after you right now, or anything like that, but we can kind of define that as you want.
Cool. And it doesn't need to be something specific like the Imperial Army or whatever, but
no, unless you want to have it specifically that's the what you're fighting against. I mean, like we've seen in the Shaw Brothers films, that people are fighting against not the emperor but the eunuchs or things like that. But I think you want to have sort of the open ability to fight against the authority.
Okay, yeah, I'll put Imperial Court then as
okay.
my faction.
Sherry, how are you doing?
I'm making up crazy weapon names, and
okay.
Yeah.
All right. We'll give you one more minute, and then I'm going to start. Anything you don't get, you can define on the fly as we go along.
Oh, dang it.
Are we going to discuss entanglements and bonds together, or should we have that too? Okay, great.
So what we're going to, right now what we're going to do is I'm going to have everyone introduce themselves, and I'm going to ask some questions about that, and that'll give you some framework when we come to the entanglements to help you decide on those things.
Eli, you took my name.
Oh no, what have I done? Let me go fix that. I'll find another one. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Okay, Agatha, I'm actually going to start with you. I was going to do the order I've been doing throughout. I'll do a different order next time, but that's how I do things. So, Agatha, tell us about your character as you have her?
Yes.
Her
Oh, yeah. I should put that somewhere in there.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
her.
As you have her defined in your head right now.
Okay, Sun He is the niece, or I feel like. How does gender work in this world? Sure, why not? Let's just say that she's the niece of the emperor. Her backstory is not really her own story, but the story of her mother. So her mother was the emperor's sister, who killed and plotted for him to gain the seat of power. He then rewarded her by marrying her off to someone he meant to behead. And I think, like, there's obviously, like, drama, and then maybe she would, like, Sun He was, like, declared someone who's, like, oh, I don't know, like a lucky sign for the empire or whatever. So for whatever reason, Sun He is not dead, but the rest of her family is. And she kind of, like, lives off, like, the court and is kind of, like, partying all day, sort of, like, just wasting her life away on the surface. But I think she's actually very focused. So she inherited the sun shearing palms that has been passed down from just, like, through the generations of her side of, like, the imperial courts. So this to the current family, this is their, like, family martial arts, and she's pretty good at it. Her element is earth, which is caution, focus, and presence. And I'm taking presence to mean, like, a kind of charismatic sort of person.
Yeah.
And so she's like, yeah, like, if she like looks you in the eyes, she always seems kind of like, whatever, but she's also, like, pretty intense. What moves did I take? So I took this specialization, a rebel, which is when I rebel against something, I can, like, call on my fellow rebels for help, and then I can, like, secretly assemble a small group to aid me and stuff like that. And then I also took a deadly secret, which is that I know the martial world well. When I first meet someone from another faction or group, I may ask about or declare one detail of their reputation or their clan's activities, which I am so excited about. I haven't taken my second one. Oh, go ahead.
Declare is good. Yeah, getting a free declaration is fun. So
yes.
So how old do you imagine that she is?
Let's see. In her picture, I think she's not old, because I think this is, like, this sort of character type is a little idealistic in a way and a little naive, the way only a young person can be. So let's say she's in her early 20s.
Okay. And these rebels that you have that you can call on, who are they? Are they friends? Are they some sort of secret organization? What are you imagining for that?
I think they're my. Oh wait, but my mother's side is. That doesn't really work. Well, they're interesting. I think they're actually my uncle on my mother's side.
Okay.
They're pretty powerful in some way. I don't know how. I haven't thought about it, but yeah.
But it is a familial connection. Like there's somebody who survived, and they've gathered some forces together.
Yes.
So tell me, you grew up in this household. I assume there are other princes and people who are in place, and you talk about this beautiful world of drinking and so on. Are there, or rather, should I say, does the emperor have children? Have you interacted with the emperor's, I mean, the heirs or the ones who are next in line?
Yeah, I think the emperor definitely has. I think he only has one son, and who it has to by default be, like, the heir apparent, and I think the prince, crown prince, he's probably a little too soft-hearted to be the next ruler, but he's pretty kind, And he's always been nothing but kind to me. And I think he kind of feels sorry for me too, in a way that I chafe against.
How, on a scale from 1 to 10, how bad is the present emperor? 1 being, oh, he's just kind of 10 being he's a sinister force behind the scenes going and rounding up rebels and having them beheaded.
That's a very interesting scale. Because I feel like what you described for 10 is just like a normal emperor. So
cinematically evil.
I think he's definitely much more on the evil side. Let's say an 8.
Okay.
And so I think he's very intelligent, and maybe a little sociopathic.
Intelligent, sociopathic. Okay. And only 1 son, no daughters?
Oh yeah, I think he has maybe
too many daughters.
Maybe like 3 daughters.
Okay.
He's not great at producing kids.
Okay. And we're probably a couple of wives down the line by this point, or has he been faithful and kept 1 wife?
I think he definitely has like wives and like concubines. Like,
okay.
Yeah, the whole thing.
All right. Well, I'll let you choose your other move, and I'm going to come back to you when we do entanglements. Let me come next to Eli. Eli, tell me about your character.
Yes. So, Waiting Heron Yin is an outsider. He's a wanderer. He has an unflinching gaze, a large birthmark on the side of his face, and he wears travel-worn clothes. And he left the Lashing Wave School 10 years ago after becoming disillusioned with their corrupt tenets. And so in the 10 years since, he has expanded upon the Lashing Waves style and renamed it, his own personal expression of it, Lashing Waves at the Water's Margin. And he is a true errant soul. You know, he wanders from place to place, helping people out when he can and lying low when he needs to. And he's come to master the saber. The element of his style is obviously water, awareness, wisdom, flexibility. And the saber has won many small victories for people in need and people with coin, but it's also made a lot of enemies for him. And so I think even though his whole life is tied to his school, I think he has a family. He's just kind of estranged from them. And so he has called upon them, you know, a few times in his life, but never really deeply or for very long.
So do you imagine that family, are they part of the Lashing Wave School, or were you sent to train with the school and then became disillusioned?
Yeah, I think the family is a third party in this.
Okay.
I don't think they have an opinion so much on whether or not the school is corrupt. They just happen to be my family that's off on the side, you know.
So I imagine that part of the problem would be that the Lashing Waves are probably one of those Wulin schools that serve at the Emperor's behest, that probably gain favor and acknowledgement and authority on them to deal with other wayward schools, and get a little corruption there. So what do you imagine your style looks like, this water style?
It is abrupt in the same way that the waves sort of crash on the shore, and the way they kind of blanket the shore abruptly is the way that he goes about a fight. He has really fluid motions. They are broad and they cover a lot of area. So where he might not be great at a one-on-one duel, he's pretty good against a lot of people. He knows how to move between them, stack them, take advantage of their numbers.
This birthmark, is that significant? Is it auspicious, inauspicious? Is it a sign of a chi condition? What do you imagine there?
It's certainly significant. I think it covers about a quarter of his face, and it's almost like, you know, the side of his face, around his temple, going onto his forehead, and then around his eye. And maybe it was auspicious. Yeah, he had a promising life ahead of him, and I think the Lashing Wave School was a part of this. And then he decided, no, it's not. And maybe he still thinks it's an auspicious mark, but everybody else who knows its importance disagrees.
Ooh, interesting. And how old would you say?
Oh, probably late 20s, early 30s, something like that.
Okay.
Mid to late 20s. Yeah, let's say mid to late 20s.
All right. That gives me plenty to work with there. Let me come to Eric then. Eric, tell me about your character.
All right. So Wei was adopted by a like a sort of a minor noble, or like a magistrate's household when he was young. He's got like a slightly older brother that's actually like a blood relation of the family.
Okay.
But Wei has a secret past in that he was actually the child of someone from the Many Venoms sect, and they came and they found him when he was a teenager, and they've been training him to go and destabilize the empire and commit assassinations and generally like bad kung fu. All right.
Does he consider himself on a righteous mission? Does he consider himself a villain?
I think he's really conflicted. Like, I think that he actually really cares about his family despite sort of the tensions there, and he wants to do good things for like the people. But he is and I think he thinks what he's doing with the Many Venoms clan is right, but I think he's starting to see like more and more signs that it may not be a righteous path, but he doesn't know yet.
So minor nobility, you're at least in the household, yep. So we have some access to those up and you have a bonus for interacting with the salt
right
folk.
Right. I like, you know, I'm often out because I'm reasonably idle as the second son. I can I go out and I've ingratiated myself amongst a lot of the people, and I'm like generous and that sort of thing when it comes to like my day-to-day persona. I'm sort of the opposite of Agatha's character.
Mm-hmm.
In that, like, I lead a very like studious, sensible sort of life, and then at night I go out and throw darts at people and poison them.
So it is definitely poisons then, right?
Oh sure. Oh yeah, there's poison. Yes, it's bad.
And what do the darts look like?
I think they look like that's a really good question. I think there's like a kind of like a tree that grows in the area where like the Many Venoms clan has and they're like these particularly like long pointed leaves, and so they're crafted to look like these leaves.
Okay. Metal or wood?
Metal.
Okay. All right. And of course, concealed up your sleeves, all of that kind of thing.
Right.
No one can spot those on you. And what is the element for that? What element do you think is associated with that style then?
I think it's fire.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And that's one of my main things. Where do I see where I record
Do you imagine that he's killed a lot of people?
I think he's killed a few people at this point. Yeah.
And how does he feel about that?
That's the part that I think he's becoming conflicted. I think the first several targets were like they were people that were causing they were people that were like causing trouble for like the common folk, and so he felt sort of justified in killing them. But he went out and he killed a noble not that long ago, and he's been here. Like he ended up, because he is a noble, he ended up having to go to the funeral, and he's hearing about all of these like good works and that sort of thing that the noble did, and so he started. That's where his conflicted emotions are starting to come from.
Did you kill my uncle?
Yeah, sure. I totally killed your uncle.
Wow.
Now, let me ask you this. I'm going to ask you one last question. Have you expressed your concerns yet to your handler? Or have you not approached that?
I don't think yet. I think I'm like one sort of nudge away from it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, and do they have a sinister name for this poison killer that's been going around?
Yeah, for sure. And I will think of it.
Okay. All right. We'll come back to you on that. Sherry, tell me about your devoted child. Muted, take a drink.
When I grow up, I will get this right.
Okay.
So, her name is Glorious Horizon. She has just reached the age that she is, it would be acceptable for her to be married. Her look is more, she's just another pretty daughter. Seems very, very much to be expected. She is one of the daughters of the foremost master of Unstoppable Dawn style. They are not exactly aligned with the Emperor. It would be perhaps too much to call them rebels, but they have sort of stayed amazingly neutral and as separate as possible up to this time. Her father's name was Thrice Forked Lightning, and she is traveling to deliver a treasured weapon to her betrothed's family, a weapon that she herself is actually trained very well in using. That weapon is called the Heavenly Beam. I actually bought the move. That means it's a legendary weapon. It would be recognized. I can impress people and deal with mooks. She is, I would say the style is based on waxing and waning, if that makes any sense. The whole, that the cycle or the time will come and you are careful during the night and joyful during the day. And so the style is called Unstoppable Dawn. It's primarily a style based on wood, so patience, growth, and curiosity. And yeah, she's not so great at control yet, though, or calculation.
Are you the eldest? Are you the heir? What is your position within the family? You're betrothed.
Yes, I'm my father's favorite. So probably the second daughter.
Is your elder sister already married off?
Yes, and to one of my father's preferred students.
Okay. The assumption being that he'll take over the school?
The school.
Let's hope that doesn't turn out to be a bad guy. Anyway, so how old is she?
15.
And what does this spear look like? So the classic spear is that long straight spear with the point, usually has that red ribbon on it. You've seen that in the movies. That's the classic one. But they also have longer spears, things that even, look like pole arms, almost like a naginata and things like that.
Yeah, it's a spear that looks like that, but the style that she fights with, actually, you put a spin on it, and the blade actually flares out so that, like, when it hits particularly nastily.
Okay. Why did they? Did I mean this is a gift for your betrothed, and you were trained in this style? Is the intent are both these things the gift for your betrothed? Your knowledge and the spear?
Yes, and here's the thing: is she's never met her betrothed. It's actually a long journey, and the servants that were supposed to accompany her on the second night, they left during the evening. So she thinks that her father has set her off as either a test or this is an opportunity. This journey is an opportunity for her to choose her life.
Okay.
But she doesn't know which. Test?
Opportunity test. All right. I like that. Well, that gives us info. I'm going to be coming back to you with entanglements here in just a second. All right. So let me talk about entanglements quickly. So you're going to take 2 entanglements. Each one is a triangle. It's about you and your relationship with another person, and then a third person complicates that. And so you're going to have 2 of these. One of these is romantic, and one of these is general. In at least one of those 4 sort of open slots, you need to have a fellow PC listed. The idea being that all of you have met each other, you've come across each other at some point, you know each other in whatever identity you want to establish for that. So we're going to go around and have everybody do one of those, and then we'll swing around and have them do another one. When you want to bring in another PC, you can suggest that, and then that other PC will say whether they think that fits with what they're doing or not. So that is kind of open. In long-term play, entanglements are not fixed. They can get changed. We check in at the beginning of each session to see if entanglements need to get rewritten, or if they need to get shifted in some way. But these are the ones we're going to start with. So I have on that entanglements tab, I've curated some choices based on the different playbooks, but off to the side, to the right-hand side, you will see that I've got a bigger list. So if anything in your there doesn't fit, if you want to look for something else, you can do that. You're also welcome to make up your own. So Agatha, do you want to start with your general or your romantic?
Romantic, please, because I've been wanting this one for so long.
Okay.
So I'm picking the I am wed to so-and-so, but I know they actually pine for so-and-so. The question, can I change it? Wait, oh, this is the exact same. Oh, it's fine. Can I change it to I am betrothed to someone?
Sure, absolutely.
Can I suggest that person be Glorious Horizon?
Ooh, I like that.
Also because that means there's already so much political machinations that must be going on in the background and into that.
Are you good with that, Glorious Horizon?
I think it sounds crazy confusing, and that's the best.
Okay.
Okay, so who do I know? Who do I know that you actually pine for then?
What do you think, Glorious Horizon? Who is it that is your actual love? It's a tough question. And you've got a cat to wrangle, so. What do you think, Sherry?
I don't know. Let's see here. I think that she met someone during the evening. One time, she doesn't really know who he is. He's partially masked, but he had a very calm, nice voice, and she doesn't know it, but it's our poison lad. Yes, Wei.
Okay. So you're infatuated with this poison lad.
I'm infatuated with the idea of the man who I met that evening. Yes, him.
Does that work for you, Wei?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. All right. So that gives us that one, and we'll come back and get your general in a second. Eli, do you want to start with your general or your romantic?
I'm going to start with my general.
Okay.
And oh boy, I'm going to do. I took part in a crime against someone who is my friend blank's sibling. I think I took part in a crime against man. Let me go back to the character sheet really quick here. Let me see. I took part in a crime against Glorious Horizon, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay. So my friend is your sibling. And do you think this should be a brother or a sister? I kind of want to go with sister.
Like her older sister that's betrothed to the heir apparent to the school?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Let's give her a name.
Yeah. Sherry, do you have any ideas?
Ooh, this is hard.
That's why I have the name list.
Yeah. Let's see here. Well, I have one too. So this is a sister or a brother?
Sister.
Okay. How about Wandering Moon?
Wandering Moon. Okay. Wandering Moon and waiting hair on her buds. I like it.
So this is a woman that you've met. You know that she's been someone that perhaps you fought alongside on at some point, a friend in some way. But what was the crime that you committed against Glorious Horizon then?
I think it was a theft. I think that oh man. Yeah, okay. I think that we tried to steal the spear.
Okay.
And I don't know that I was really aware of what was going on until I was there and I realized. I think I was brought into this job on the premise that we were just going to be relieving some rich people of their riches to help out some local community. And then we get there and we find out that or I find out anyway, that we're actually stealing the spear. And I don't think the spear was stolen,
right?
But I think I was noticed.
Yeah. So we flash back to a few months ago, to your break-in, mask on and realizing when you see, do you think that Glorious Horizon saw your face or did Wandering Moon realize that it was you?
Oh man. I mean, I think drama demands it has to be Glorious Horizon.
Okay. All right. So she saw. Excellent. We will come back to you for your romantic then. So let's come to Eric.
Oh, there's so many and they're so good. All right. So I was looking at. Shoot. It was on the tab and now I lost it. So I'm going to start with a general entanglement.
Okay.
And I think that it is Immortal Centipede, an authority of my faction, has ordered me to undercut Eli's character, waiting.
Waiting Heron?
Yeah. Who I respect.
So you know Waiting Heron, you have respect for him?
Yep.
Okay.
He's a hero of the Wulin, and that's like what I think myself as, even though I am not.
So he knows you clearly in your civilian identity, right?
Right.
Okay. Does that work for you, Waiting Heron?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay. Immortal Centipede. Great centipede style, great poison style, very flexible.
Right. He's a poison style. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Do they throw centipedes, or is it just called centipede style?
I think he's really fast, and he has these like little daggers that he like sticks in you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then that brings us to Sherry. General or romantic?
I don't know. I think, is it okay to sort of repeat the thing of I seek my soulmate, a mysterious gentleman with a gentle voice, but my sister Wandering Moon's face goes dark whenever I mention him?
Sure.
Is that good? It kind of ties everything back in, or should I bring in someone new in crazy times?
That's
too many boys.
So you are infatuated with Wei, but your sister Wandering Moon, what does she know about Wei? Does she know Wei's a poisoner? Why would she hold her tongue?
Because I think she thinks that she has dissuaded me.
So you've spoken about this dark figure, and your sister believes that she's dissuaded you and hasn't told you the full story.
Correct.
She doesn't want to corrupt your young mind.
I am too innocent for such a thing.
Yes, can't talk about those things. All right. That seems reasonable to me. Agatha, let's come back around to you for your general.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I got way too excited for everyone else's entanglement, and I didn't even look at my general one. Can we come back to me?
Well, I'm going to take a moment here to write down these NPC names. So you go ahead and think.
Great. Okay. I want to find one that is like politicking. Oh, this is an interesting one.
Okay.
An enemy, blank, has come to me to change their ways, but I know my friend, blank, will never believe them.
Ooh, all right.
Seems like interesting. I don't know who's my friend. Do I have friends?
Do you know Waiting Heron? Do you know Wei?
I definitely know Wei.
Okay.
I don't know if we're friends. I can know Waiting Heron as well. I don't think I have any connections. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, what would be how is it that you have befriended Waiting Heron or Wei?
Okay, let's see. So you, Lashing Wave School, corrupted tenants, and you were doing stuff for the Emperor. Is that, or the Lashing Wave School was doing stuff for the Emperor? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I think that was the implication. They were caught up in doing something with the Emperor, and I left the school as a result of that.
So it's probably someone from your school then, right? That came back.
Yeah.
Or that has like renounced it.
Okay. So we have an NPC that's renounced it, but you don't. But your friend Waiting Heron, you don't think they're going to believe it?
Yeah. I think it's probably someone really close to them. So maybe like it was their master, or they were like, I don't know, fellow disciple?
Yeah, I think maybe like a student friend of mine, a fellow student and close friend. But we had maybe like a big falling out, and that's why I wouldn't believe it.
Okay. Like maybe at the end you were rivals at the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's have a name.
All right. Should I come with a name or should
Either one.
Okay. Come up with a name.
Can I just suggest that it's a woman?
Of course.
Okay.
Wading Heron. So then
Something Crane.
yeah. Oh, the cranes are so sick. So I'm like thinking of words and then I realize I don't know how to translate them. Let's just say something like bursting crane.
Okay.
Like bursting to flight. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
awesome.
I like it. All right. I'll write that down. So Eli, you did your general, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's hear romantic.
Let me see here. So I think I'm gonna do I love blank, who I overlooked for too long. Now they love blank. But I'm curious, do you have any affordance in the game for somebody who wants to play like an aromantic character? Is it possible to just pick two general entanglements?
No.
Okay.
No. This is a question, and I've gotten it from people who want to do the lone wanderer.
Mm-hmm.
But at least in the way that I'm running it, everybody has to have a romantic entanglement because that makes things harder.
Sure. I like that. Okay, cool. So yeah, I love blank, who I overlooked for too long. Now they love blank. I'm tempted. I'm tempted to say that I love bursting crane, but I waited too long and it spoiled the relationship when I left the school. And now they love Sun He.
Oh, secretly love. Okay. That's perfectly complicated.
Yeah.
Awesome. Eric.
Well, so this is one I wrote down while we were talking, and then let's see if it still fits or if we're over egging the pudding. So my brothers Jihao and I vie for the attentions of Sun He, despite their indifference to both of us.
Okay. And so this is the brother that's also raised, but is not a member of this poison society?
Right. He's a natural member of the family. He's not adopted.
Okay.
And he and I are actual age.
So you are both slightly below your object of affection's status, and by slightly I mean hugely below. But you are representing the palace. Okay. Does that work for you, son?
Hey, keep them coming.
Okay. And okay. Sherry, you get the last word in entanglements. So where do I fit that in here? You're muted. Take a drink.
I haven't said anything yet. It was more just weeping because there's so much. Okay. So I think that, how about if I promised my brother-in-law that I would aid the troublemaker, and now which troublemaker should I aid? Bursting Crane?
Ooh, interesting. So your brother-in-law knows this bursting crane who's from a kind of a dangerous and suspect school.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What is your brother-in-law's name?
Oh, a moment, please.
I will give you a moment.
He is, let's see here. How about wow. How about Master of Iron and Jade?
Master of Iron and Jade. Awesome. All right. So that gives us our entanglements. So the other things that you're going to do now is you're going to choose one of your fellow PCs that you think you probably have the closest friendship or relationship with, or most emotional energy invested, and you'll write their name under bonds on the line that says fellow PC, and you'll set that at a 1. And then you'll pick a faction, either one that you belong to or one that you're against, that is your other bond. Bonds are sort of emotional energy that can be spent after you roll to give yourself a +1. So, and when you use a bond, you're not destroying the relationship, you're just calling on what that relationship means to you, the energy of that. Any questions about that? Okay, we are going to take about an 8-minute break here, bio break, chance to drink. So we'll come back at 25 after, and I'm going to wander around with this in my hand and try and figure out where we're going to start, and then we'll get rolling. All right? All right.
Oh, that's very interesting. The question about like a Wulin name.
Yeah.
So like a title? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, like a name that you use when you're in Wulin society that you go by as opposed to your imperial court name. Because I figure I'm traveling to meet my betrothed, but I have a name. I don't realize it's you.
That's true.
That's...
So you don't know that it's me?
Or do I know that it's you and I've already met you? Or are we starting out in separate places?
I mean, I think I definitely know who you are, and I know that this was arranged with my uncle, aka the Emperor. And I know that this means that I am next on the chopping block, and I think you are going to have to ride that chopping wave with me. So I don't know if I necessarily. I feel like we actually already know each other, at least by name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like maybe you met a number of years ago before you kind of grew into the people that you are?
Wait.
I like the idea that you met her when she was 9. You know?
So like 6 years ago?
Yeah, exactly.
Also, to make this a little less weird, maybe I should make myself a little younger. So maybe not in my like early 20s. Maybe I'm like 19. Or else I'm like, that's really creepy.
Isn't the imperial court kind of creepy? I don't know.
Yes. But that doesn't mean we have to be.
Okay.
Or we can be a little less though, right? Like
Okay.
if I'm in the teens, it's a little, I don't know. What do you
Fair enough.
think?
You're betrothed, but it's not entirely clear when the wedding is going to happen, kind of thing. Or do you think it's coming up here? That they are moving this forward?
I think it's coming up.
Okay. All right. So it's going to show you. So if we were playing face to face, I have I do these, and then I put like example names for the styles and stuff on the back when I do this face to face at cons. My niece has the whole set because she was running this face to face. So, but that's the way I get around the whole having a sheet with names and things on it, is having those out at the table. So we're going to start here. Eli, Eric, we have what's called a roll for your party.
Oh, sure. I think I'm in it.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, the link for that is,
I found it on a weird page.
yes,
Which page?
It's right on the factions and
right.
A names tab. But yeah, that's our roller for that. Have you used this before?
I have.
Okay. Eli, have you used it? Okay. All right. So you guys know I've started sometimes and people have been like, how do I use this? So I always just check. But yeah, that is our roller here. All right. So Waiting Heron, the Imperial Court is in one of those times to transition, where they move from the Grand Palace to the Summer Palace, where and it's one of those great, entourage and caravans and processions and so on, and it is making its way to the Summer Palace. This is one of those times when various nobles are called to present themselves to court, and matters are dealt with, and artists come to try and gain imperial patronage, and there are various competitions that go on, especially amongst the court ladies and so on, and even amongst the young men for hunting, the ladies for embroidery. Of course, depending on how we want to do gender here, that can be cross-gender on any of those things. I'm good with that. So Waiting Heron, what has drawn you to come this way? Why are you going to the Imperial Court and the Summer Palace?
Well, the job that I took to steal the family spear ended up being ordered from higher up than I realized. And I am here to track down the actual person who ordered this and led me along on false pretenses and have a confrontation with them.
What is the physical piece of evidence? What is the sigil or scrap or object that you have to identify this person who gave the order?
I think it is a broken piece of a jade piece of ornamentation on a Ruyi scepter.
Oh, okay. Excellent. So yeah, you have that, and you've been traveling for some time. You expect that the Emperor will arrive in the next few days at the Summer Palace, but you're probably in the tavern of the village that is outside of that. This is a new place that you've arrived at. So we've got a move for that. So here we go. Let's look at that move that you have. This is when you arrive in a new place, right?
Yes.
Okay. So now here's the choice that you have. Whenever you roll, with a couple of exceptions, you'll choose which chi you wish to roll with, what you think is appropriate. Now you might ask yourself, why would I not always roll with my best chi? As Rich always points to me. And I will tell you that because if you do get a hard move, a fail, then often what I'll have you do is mark the chi that you rolled with. And that means you can't roll with it until you get it cleared. So those chi are also your damage track. So there is a risk benefit there going on. So what do you want to roll with?
I think I am in this village waiting for the Emperor to show up because I am trying to figure out how I'm going to do this. I am calculating everything that's going on, but I'm not actually going to use metal. I want to use earth because right now I'm feeling endangered and I'm trying to pay attention and focus in on what I'm about to do.
Excellent. Then let's have you go ahead and roll with earth.
All right. I got a 3. -1 is actually just a 2.
So you have arrived back here, and it's been quite some time since you've been through this village, and you were received somewhat darkly. Like people look askance at you when you arrive. And it's one of those things when you settle yourself into the inn to have a cup of wine, that the inn gets quiet and people are kind of shifting and waiting and watching you, and you can tell that something is amiss. These people clearly know you, and there's a storm that is brewing right at this moment. Now, normally you wouldn't, but because this is a short game, you get to mark XP when you roll a miss. So you get to mark 1 XP. And I'm going to do what Rich says is the good news is you get to mark 1 XP. And now, because it's a hard move, I'm not going to have you mark that chi, but what I am going to do is I'm going to take that hard move from PBTA, and I've got a little shelf here for hard moves, and I'm going to put that on that and set that off to the side. So, Sherry, we Glorious Horizon on the road with this spear. Does she carry it out in the open, or is the head wrapped, or how is that?
I think that, yeah, it's probably wrapped. Looks more like a walking stick then. If that makes any sense. It's got a sleeve over the blade anyway, the blade tip, and some nice bells on it.
Okay.
Yeah, bells are lovely, aren't they?
Yes. And when we see you, are you dressed? Do people know you're noble, or are you trying to conceal your nobility? Are you in traveling clothes?
I am in traveling clothes, incognito.
Okay. On screen, we can tell that you look much cleaner than anyone else.
My makeup is perfect.
Okay. So you have arrived. You're also, of course, following the path of the emperor and the movement to this summer palace. And you've arrived in this village, planning to kind of stop and perhaps get yourself something to eat. And you will see that there is a group of people assembled. They look unpleasant. Look maybe like bandit types. You'll see the leader is this broad-chested guy who has this enormous metal club, and he's talking, and they're gesticulating towards the tavern, and there seem to be like they're gathering themselves, and you can sense the murder in the air.
Oh, that seems unfortunate.
What do you want to do?
I think that I am accustomed to a certain amount of power and influence, so it won't even occur to me to do anything other than to sort of step in front of them to indicate that I'm going to go into this inn. Does that make any sense? And that would be very unsensible of them to attack.
All right. Let's have you roll hearts and minds.
All right. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I suppose I will do it with, let's see here, probably the closest I come to calculation.
Okay.
So 0, right?
That is a 0.
Okay, so I should be able to do just as poorly as my friend waiting here. Okay, so I am re-rolling my dice.
Okay.
I got a 10.
Got a 10. So they definitely hesitate. Like they're not going in immediately. You're probably going to come in, but they're going to hold off for a moment, and you will come in and look around the inn, and you can see the object of the villagers' ire, and you will see waiting hair in there.
Really?
Yes. This is that scofflaw who tried to steal your spear.
Right. So I think I'll walk in front of his table, and I'll hit the staff down to get the attention of the bartender. And I will.
Innkeep comes over.
Yes. And I'll call for some wine.
Waiting Heron, in the midst of your worries about the villagers and so on, as if on cue, Glorious Horizon walks in with that spear and marches straight up to your table.
Waiting Heron is trying to ignore the brewing storm from the villagers, and is in fact not so much trying to ignore it as he is waiting for the waiter to come by and trying to remember why exactly this village is pissed at him. He thought this was one that liked him, and so this is a surprise. And he's really kind of distracted by that, and I think Glorious Horizon almost totally surprises him, gets right up in front of him before he realizes, and then he doesn't even need to look up, and he just knows that it's Glorious Horizon there. And the board is shifted yet again. And so he I want to I don't know.
Are you embarrassed? I mean, what's your feeling right now?
Remorseful, but I can't make a proper apology until I get this revenge.
It sounds to me like you've got some inner conflict.
I do.
Okay.
I truly do.
So inner conflict, you choose any element except for your style element, and you will roll. And the other good news is, because this is a short game, whenever you roll inner conflict, you get to mark XP.
Great.
So you're well on the way to an advance.
Okay, cool. I'm going to say, wait a second. My character sheet is not totally up to date.
Oh.
I'm going to say, I'm going to roll wood here because I'm trying to make amends for the job that I unwittingly was a part of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
then let's have you roll with wood.
That's a 12. It's a 13 total.
You keep yourself together.
Feast or famine over here.
Yeah. You will hold yourself set there, and with you kind of locking eyes, maybe keeping yourself in check, we will cut away to a hunt, a light hunt, one organized by the court. And how am I saying your name, Agatha?
Sun He.
Sun He.
Yeah. Should I like spell it out phonetically so it's like SUEN? Would that help?
Yeah. I've written it down here, so I'll be able to hopefully regard it. My background's in Arabic, so I pronounce some things very differently. So, but I'm working on learning the pronunciation for Chinese. I'm trying to get that, so I'm not as terrible with it as I have been. So Sun, on
Sun He.
Sun.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Sun He. It just needs to end with the He because that's my full name.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
So on these kinds of hunts, what does she normally do? Does she participate in them? So what does that look like?
Yeah, I'm definitely riding a horse that was gifted to me by the emperor, my uncle. I don't know. It's like a bay horse. Anyway, the horse is not that important. It's fine. It's a serviceable horse, and I have a bow, and I'm like, I think I just ride along. I don't actually I'm not super enthusiastic about it, but I do like maybe when I like pass by, I don't know, like the important young people of the court, I like wink at them, but I'm not as focused on like.
Absolutely. So there is a chance for you to kind of be at the margins, at the edges as this goes along in these woodlands, and you will see one of the servants to the crown prince has ridden off by themselves and is heading into these woods. Somewhat strange.
Great. I think I wave off my servant who has been following me.
But they do that.
Oh.
Young lady should, but they're trying to not have to leave you, but you can dismiss them.
Yeah, wave them off, and then I take from my saddlebag. I like kind of reach around in them, and then I pull out this cloak and I like flap it out, and then I like gonna swing it and like tie it on myself, and it is definitely my cousin's coat. My cousin, the crown prince. His name. I gave him a name. I don't know if you wanted me to give him a name.
Yes, give him a name.
His name is Wu Sui. Wusui. I think all of the like the people on his side of family, so like my uncle as well. Their last name is Wu.
Wu.
That's their.
Yeah, you'll pull that cloak on, and you're gonna head that way.
Mm-hmm. And I have the imposter, that's the other move I took. I assume a perfect disguise.
And we're going to cut from that to Wei. You and your brother are also on this hunt. You're very much at the back ranks of it, I imagine, right?
Right. It's sort of a minor house.
Do you imagine that in this case, because your brother is elder, that essentially maybe you're carrying his stuff, or does he regard you as an equal?
I think there's a rivalry there.
Okay.
So I think he's definitely like trying to put me in my place and like making me carry his stuff.
And you have moved off the beaten path because your brother happened to catch a glimpse of the young lady that you two both vie for the affections of, and she seemed to be heading off a little bit by herself, and this might be an opportunity to perhaps ride and speak with her. Correct?
That's right. Yeah. That's and. I think that's when the competition, the riding competition gets a little more fierce, and I just sort of like stow his stuff, and we start taking off in that direction as heedless young men.
And we'll see you ride. We get one of those long tracking shots. The camera comes around there, even though it's not that big a distance, but we see good 15 seconds worth of riding on screen.
That's right.
But you follow, and you don't see her. But in the distance, you will see the crown prince going off by himself into these woods.
No, it's clearly not safe. We can't allow the crown prince to come to any harm. So I say to Jianghu, because I'm a very like serious, like staid sort of person in my like normal role. And then I let my like fiery part out when I'm in my secret role. So I'm like he's the active like athletic one, and I'm the sort of staid nerdier one. But I'm also like, yeah, we have to go. Like that doesn't seem proper. We should go out and figure out what's going on.
And your brother does hesitate here. He's like, what if the prince is on an assignation? If we interrupt him, it'll be our heads.
We could be quiet.
Let us try to do that.
Haven't you learned that? Yeah.
I can be just as quiet as you. And he will do that, but of course he's not nearly as quiet as you are. He's trying to hold the bangles on his horse from jangling. Mm-hmm. The two of you will silently, like I said, silently gallop down towards this.
We can get close, and then we can dismount, and then we can sneak up on foot.
So, Agatha, when you move into the woods here, do you dismount or do you stay on horseback?
Oh, I guess my horse is recognizable. I suppose I dismount.
Okay. And are you trying to remain stealthy here?
No, I would like to land in front of the servant.
Okay. So the servant is headed into the woods. You ride up and land in front of them. And they gasp in shock that you were there. And they will say, my lord, I thought that you were at the front of the hunt.
You know that such excitement is, and then I'm like, gentler. You know that such excitement is not for me. And what do you seek here, within the bowels of these woods?
Well, it is funny that you mentioned bowels, as that is the call of the nature that has summoned me here, and I wish to. Yes, he lies to you.
Okay. All right. Let me check on my moves. I got sick stuff. Is it possible that this person is from another faction, like a martial arts faction, or not? Oh, but I already know them, so I'm not meeting for the first time. Never mind.
Well, you could do a study. Maybe you haven't interacted with them before. Do you want to do that?
Yeah, I would
that
like
might trigger your deadly secret then after that.
Yeah, I'll like take a fan out from like my sleeve and then like
Okay.
study him.
Let's what do you want to roll with?
I'm going to roll with I don't know. I guess I will roll with water, which is like awareness. So that's a 0. Yeah. Okay, so that's an 8.
Okay, so that gives you 1 hold. You can ask a question or make a declaration or learn their scale.
Oh, let's see. What should I do? What should I declare? I think I'm like flapping the fan, and I like close it again, and I just like lean back against the tree, and I'm like, "What are you doing here, bursting crane?"
And are you revealing your disguise, or are you saying that in still appearing to be the crown prince?
Oh, I'm revealing who I am. I think my attitude reveals who I am.
Okay, and you'll see. And we see on screen, we see somebody pull back a mask, and now it's a different actor.
Yes.
And they're like, "What are you doing here? You shouldn't be here."
I saw you. Seems like we're doing something important.
And he will say, I'd heard I'd heard rumors of some people heading off to plot in these woods, and so I was coming this way to investigate.
Well, what are you waiting for?
Well, I don't think you should put yourself at risk.
Myself or the crown prince?
Either. Both. You are not trained in the world of the martial arts, and if we go forward, this is maybe dangerous.
That's sweet. And I'm going to keep walking in to the woods, I guess.
And she looks very panicked, and she will follow. So you will see the crown prince in the distance way, meets with a person, and then the two of them kind of vanish into the woods. Does look like a woman that the prince was meeting with.
Mm. I think maybe me and Jianghu have a moment of like quiet resignation that we. Oh no, this is the crown prince. That's right. Yeah. So we know that it's that you were like, oh, we maybe shouldn't go any further because we're assuming that it is an assignation, right?
Right.
Oh. Yeah, it's we're gonna have to Jianghu, we should maybe leave the crown prince to his duties.
And he nods. Tell me, Wei, what is the sound or the detail or the thing out of the corner of your eye that tells you that there are people moving into the woods? like a group.
Is a flicker of like the quality of the light changes because they're disturbing like the leaves and the way that the light comes through. I can sense the pattern change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'll see that. Your brother doesn't notice it at all.
Mm-hmm.
You can feel their ill intent.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to try to urge him that we should go back and join the rest of the group, and maybe we can see Sun He, and we can, yeah.
And I don't think that takes even a roll to urge him to do that. He is more than willing to not have his head cut off. So he will take off. Are you going with him, or are you evading him?
I think like as we get close, I think I'm going to I think I will appeal to the call of nature and being his weedy little brother, and I will vanish off and put my mask on.
Okay.
As the
and you hit the woods, mask on, and we see you vanish into the woods as well. We'll come back to this in a moment. Glorious Horizon, Waiting Heron's eyes lock with yours. What do you say?
I say, I think there's some people who want to kill you.
I seem to have offended some people here.
Fancy that.
Yes. What brings you to town?
She sort of picks her staff up and puts it in both of her hands, and she goes, "Not sure that's your business."
That's fine. That's totally fine.
I'm just gonna go get a good view, okay?
Sure. Enjoy the view.
And
where do you go?
We'll go upstairs so I can look down.
And it's one of the second floor open thing, balcony you can look down on.
So I think as soon as Glorious Horizon turns her back on me, I'm going to try and make a subtle exit from the inn, but I actually would prefer to get just so far away that I can tail her, and maybe she will lead me to the individual. Maybe it's someone close to her.
Interesting. So you're this is challenging. So right now you're trying to essentially be stealthy. I think the roll, we're going to have you roll an overcome to be stealthy for the crew outside. And then we'll ask, we'll do another check here in a second. So what do you want to roll what is your stealth, you think?
I think when I am stealthy, I think I become very intentional in these moments.
Okay.
And I am trying to pay attention to everything so that I can know when I should move through this little gap in the crowd and when I should pause over at this basket, to do something unassuming. And in this situation, I think it's metal for me.
Sure.
Trying to overcome this.
Let's have you roll.
That is a 7 total.
Okay. So I'm going to give you a choice. You can vanish from the line of sight of Glorious Horizon, or you can vanish from the line of sight of these people that want to kill you.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think the people who want to kill me see me kind of move off on my own to get into a vantage point.
Oh, absolutely. And you have moved and have hidden yourself away. And Glorious Horizon, you look around and Waiting Heron is gone.
What? That's sort of offensive to me.
A little bothersome.
Yes. When her wine comes, she goes, "Where did that man go?"
What man?
The man that was sitting down there.
There were many men who were sitting down there. She goes, the innkeeper says, if I were you, I would remain here seated and do not get involved in his business.
Yes, the man that this business is about. Where did he go?
The young lady, do not worry yourself.
You know the answer. And she sort of stands up and she goes, "Why don't you show me?"
We'll come back to you in a second. You've moved Waiting Heron outside and kind of taken yourself around to try and get another vantage point. And you will see this group of, for want of a better word, mooks, henchmen there that have kind of come up, and you will see this largish figure with an enormous metal club, and you will recognize him as Sour Sadness Bear. And you're like, oh, that's right. This is where I took care of those bandits that turned out to be locals. And there was a brother, some other bear. You can't quite remember. But Sour Sadness Bear steps forward and he gives a hearty laugh. So you've returned.
Oh, Sour Sadness Bear. I forgot you lived here.
It was like, well, I do live here. Let's just come back.
Look, I can explain. I didn't realize you were from the area whenever we fought last time.
Mm-hmm.
And I really don't want to beat you again. So can we just let bygones be bygones and go with that?
And he goes, I think with your wisecrack remark there, I think he says no. And he will step forward, and his group of troops come to back him up. Let me ask you this, Waiting Heron. Do you think that Glorious Horizon is going to get on the scene before this fight breaks out?
I think Waiting Heron is pretty eager to wade into this fight. And so I think it will probably be started by the time Glorious Horizon gets there.
Then here is the thing. Right now, if you're going to fight them, he, combined with his troops, are a greater scale than you, because it's the sheer numbers and his strength together. So we're going to roll for that.
Okay.
So when your foe is above your scale, you lose.
Okay.
But on a hit, you get to tell me how you lose.
Okay. So I'm certainly using water. That's my style element.
Okay.
And let's see how this goes here. 8, 9, 10 total.
So you're not going to mark chi, but you are knocked. What does that look like? What happens when his gang and he's swinging this big iron club? What do we see?
Yeah. So I was walking down a side road that was next to this inn, and there was a tree that I was going to climb to watch this character, Glorious Horizon, inside the inn. And I was kind of backed up against the tree whenever the group came. And so I say my cocky line, and Sour Sadness, was it Bear?
Bear.
Sour Sadness Bear, yeah. He immediately just takes umbrage and swings his hammer up and into the tree. But by the time he gets there, I've already sidestepped My blade is out in my hand, and I think these people who are around, are they like peasants? They're carrying staves and that sort of thing.
They look like his bandit gang.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so then, there's maybe there are people with spears, there are people with swords and that sort of thing, but I think the people who have swords probably have a dao similar to mine. And my superiority over them is clear. I am moving around and getting them pretty well, but against Sour Sadness Bear, it's just too much, and I keep getting knocked 5 or 10 feet away, and then the crowd comes over, and I barely manage to fend those off, and then the mace comes back, and I might barely dodge out of the way, but then I take a couple scrapes from the crowd.
And probably by this point that we've moved, the scene has shifted into the back garden of the tavern. We've got barrels and things like that scattered around. Glorious Horizon, you will arrive on the scene, and you will see that Waiting Heron is in a desperate struggle. He is clearly skilled, but he is outmatched by the numbers and the ferocity of this bandit.
And I say, apologize.
And there's a pause, and they all look at you. Are you speaking to me? Do I know you?
And she sort of looks at him and she goes, no. She looks at him, and she'll look at Waiting Here and she'll go, apologize.
Man, what does he say? He's right in the middle of this, and then apologize rings out. And he says, well, I just tried that here and didn't work.
And I think she'll jump down, like from the wall into the courtyard. And she goes, that's because they're peasants. Apologize.
And Bear will gesture to you and send his troops after you, and he will return to fight Waiting Heron, and we're going to come back to you in just a little bit.
Okay.
So, let me say it here. Swim, huh? So bad. Swim, huh? You move. God. Anyway, you move into the woods with Bursting Crane, and you will see that there is a clearing, and there is like a fire pit there, and you'll see that there like is a body next to it. Like maybe there was a campfire and there's a body laying there on the ground. What do you do?
I guess I survey the scene to see if there's I don't know if people are going to jump out and attack.
Fair enough. So let's have you make a study.
Yeah, this time. Can I make study with my well, I guess maybe I should.
You're always welcome to roll with your style element. Yes.
I could, but then I can't fight.
Only if you fail, and I have you mark it. What are the odds of that?
Let's see. I could say that I could try to twist this and be like, I'm calculating my odds of being suddenly attacked.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'll do that. Yeah. So yeah, I guess I'll roll with metal.
Sure.
Yeah. But those two. Oh. Okay. So that's a 10.
Ooh, you get 2 hold.
Sweet.
So what are your questions?
I want to know if there are any hidden threats.
So this figure on the ground, this corpse is not a corpse. It is clearly a trap. There is a person that is holding their breath, holding themselves still, demonstrates a certain command of their own chi to be able to feign death in this way. What is your second question?
I don't have a second question. I have a detail to declare.
Please.
I'm going to say that he is wearing robes that look really different from mine, but have a similar pattern.
Okay.
So he is pretending to be Crown Prince Wu Sui, and I have a picture, by the way, of my cousin. But anyway, so this guy is playing a similar trick to me.
Okay, yeah, he has put this costume. It's not as nice as yours, but it is still striking. So at this point, Bursting Crane is kind of behind you, kind of as you've paused and looked, and you've made this decision. Let me come back. I'm going to come back to you in just one second. Wei, you move into these woods, and you will see these figures moving through the trees. There's a group of about a half dozen of them. They're moving through cautiously, carefully, preternaturally silent.
Sure. Do I recognize their movement style as maybe one that my master taught me about?
Let's see here. Do you have a special ability? If you want to make a study roll,
I'll make a study.
Okay. What do you want to roll with?
Let's see. I am going to roll with water, which is 0.
Okay.
I'm going to put the dice. 7.
Okay. So you have 1 hold to ask a question or make a declaration.
I guess I just want to know the answer to my question is like what faction are they from?
They look like they're lashing waves. They are the lashing waves. They're clearly disguised, but it's the motion and the movement as they travel through these trees, and they are roiling along like a tide,
right,
towards their target.
Oh, they're up to no good. Takes the heroic Many Venoms clan to save the day.
So are you going to interpose?
I am. I'm going to intercept this gang that's approaching.
Okay. So describe to me how it is that you interpose, and then we'll switch back to Agatha, and then we're going to resolve some conflicts here. So
how are they? Are they moving? Are they moving through the trees? Are they moving on the ground?
They're like that 20 feet up, moving from tree to tree. In a carefully calculated pattern.
And so I run along the ground until I get out in front of them, and then I like scale up a tree, and I'm standing there with like one leg wrapped around the tree as they all come approach, and I'll like greetings, fellow travelers.
And they do that thing where they come to a halt and they're holding on. They have to steady themselves with both leg and arm to hang on to these trees. And they look at each other like, what do we do? And then they brandish their weapons. They're clearly going to attack you.
Okay. And I think before they get a chance, I think there is a rain of leaf-shaped darts coming their way.
Excellent. I'm going to come back to you to resolve that. So Agatha, there's this assassin dressed as the crown prince, feigning death, clearly waiting to kill someone. Maybe you.
Most likely. I take out my fan again, and I like open it, and I glance at a bursting crane, like a meaningful look, and then I say, what is the meaning of this?
And
how are you? You're dressed. That's my. So on and so forth.
Okay. Are you trying to draw them into attack, like playing weak, or what is it you think you want to do here?
I think I am trying to surprise them by showing them that I am the crown prince. Clearly, they're not here. They're not trying to kill the crown prince.
Then I think when they see that and they realize that the situation has changed, and it is the crown prince who is here, this figure rolls forward in a flurry. You see the robes and such kind of flap there, and he sits up and he has this black mask on, and he draws out this blade with it has that sort of handle and that sort of long wrist thing on it, like the one-armed swordsman uses, and he brings that up to engage you. What are you going to fight him, or do you want to withdraw?
Do they see through my disguise?
No.
Oh, I think I secretly am like, behind my fan.
Yes.
And I guess I throw the fan to the ground and I say, you are not here to fight me, friend.
You want to try and talk them down?
Yes, I would love to do that.
Okay. I'm going to come back to you to do your hearts and minds in a second. I want to see what happens with Wei and these troops. Then we're going to come back to you, and then we're going to resolve the fight in the alley. So Wei,
yes,
when you fight a group of troops that are collectively below your scale, roll.
Okay. So I am going to roll with my fire.
That'll be with your style element.
Right. 8.
Okay. So on a hit, you defeat them and describe how you do so. It's not easy. If it was a 10 plus, you would have soundly sent them flying, but it's a little more challenging. You're fighting in the trees. There are 6 of them. They're coordinated. So what do we see?
So I think we see the like the darts fly from Wei's hands, and you see like the leaves in the treetops get shredded as the as they come out, just so rapid fire. And I think I catch a couple of them in that first one, but because they are coordinated, they leap away into other treetops, and it becomes this like really dangerous cat and mouse game of us hopping from like treetop to treetop, and a lot of like narrow escapes as they're like chopping off tree limbs and that sort of thing, so that I don't have a place to jump to, and it takes all of my like speed and guile to deliver all of my darts to the right spot and to make sure that I don't give up my position.
Absolutely. So we see that swirl through the trees as you get one and then another one. They come close, and we see you getting down to that last of those. Let us see the imposter crown prince try to convince the other imposter crown prince that they should not attack. What do you want to roll that with, Agatha?
I feel like I have to roll with Earth because this is my presence. I'm trying to charm them.
Okay.
Clearly. Let's hope I don't fail on this one. Okay. Oh, these dice are treating me very well. I rolled a 9 plus 2 is an 11. What do I say? Hold on. Let me double check the hearts and minds. Oh, okay. I think after I threw my fan on the ground, I take a step forward. And maybe I just like unlace one of the things that holds this outer robe together.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't actually like remove it. But I'm like looking at him and I say, you know, if you succeed, you will also die. My uncle is not so kind a man to leave you alive after this.
Is that pause, and the figure will, you know, does that sweep that puts the knife back into his sleeve, and he kind of steps and clearly is doing the, you know, I'm going to walk away now gesture, even as you're hearing the sounds of this fighting in the woods. He looks at you like, I'm going to go.
Are you from my uncle? Just one last question.
Your uncle? Who's your uncle? And he will smile. Ah, you're not who I thought you were.
Neither were you.
And he will make to leap away, that kind of into the trees, the grab onto it, take one look back, and he will take off unless you pursue him.
I'm going to look at Bursting Crane.
And she's like, that was very dangerous. That he could have killed you.
I think you should follow him.
If you wish it. And she will take off. We'll come back to that in just 1 second. Even as you're hearing that fighting kind of end in the woods, we're back to Sour Sadness Bear and the Mooks. So, Sherry, tell me how Glorious Horizon deals with these Mooks. What do we see on screen? I'm going to take a drink.
Sorry, I had to mute. The kitten was purring like a crazy cat. Okay, so essentially you see her go into a stance. She's standing on one foot. She takes the other foot and puts it against her shin. And of course, she took the shaft of her spear is sort of in there, and she just essentially steps on it so that she can pull the sleeve off of the spear on the bottom, and then she pulls the other sleeve off on the top, and it's revealed that it's the heavenly beam.
We see the light hits it. Everybody, you know, the glints off the metal of it. There's a draw of a gasp there
Yes.
as it comes out.
As a chime, just an ever so slight chime that essentially what it's revealed, you kind of hear it clear through the air. Ting.
Let's have you roll fight troops.
All right. That should be good. So I have a +1, and my style is wood, so it's a +3.
Look at you. There's almost no chance you could fail.
Poof, poof. I know these dice. So that's 6 plus 3 is a 9.
Okay. So it's not easy, but what do we see?
The courtyard's a little too small, really, for her to get the distance that she would use typically to take them out. Her swings are constricted instead of nice long ones to knock over 4 or 5 of them. She has to do shorter ones of just the 2 that are right in front of her. And so it's more like she's kind of annoyed, and she breaks a little bit of a sweat as she's doing it. So,
and they're trying to get in and use their numbers, but you've got that spear to push them back. Even as that's going on, Wading Heron, Sour Sadness Bear raises up that hammer again and comes at you full force.
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to try and duel them, but do I have any indication of their scale relationship to me?
Yes, now that their people aren't with him, he is on your scale.
Okay,
This is a worthy foe.
cool. Yeah, and I think I've fought this guy before as well. I'm curious, does that grant me any sort of position in the fiction, or
You can describe something about his style if you want.
yeah. So typically, like I said, lashing waves at the water's margin is a style that's better against a lot of people instead of just a single person. And so, Waiting Heron Yin and Sour Sadness Bear are facing off against one another, and the fight is kind of going against Waiting Heron. He is fending off blows because Sour Sadness is coming around and using the momentum of his hammer to rain blows down from every direction. They're coming from all over the place.
Every time he swings, something breaks.
Yeah. Yeah. And Waiting Heron is able to hop over the hammer's head, and he's able to kind of nimbly dodge out of the way, and he's able to position himself behind Sour Sadness Bear every once in a while, trying to move in the same way that he moves against a bunch of people. But Sour Sadness Bear is able to just use that momentum and bring the hammer's head back around again. And so it's actually not super easy for Waiting Heron in this moment.
Yeah. Let's have you roll.
Okay.
See what happens, because you could fail.
I got a 9.
Got a 9. Okay. So on a 7 to 9, you can choose one of these results. You can win at a cost. Mark Chi, they escape. You lose face, or if there was some other cost we could think of. You could lose and mark XP, or you could deadlock with them.
I think, let's see. So if I win at a cost and I mark chi, that means that I can't use that chi for actions in the future, right?
Yes, but in this case, because of win at a cost, you will get to choose which chi you want to mark.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I will win at a cost.
Okay.
And I will mark, what chi am I going to mark? I think it's going to be fire.
Okay.
Yeah, the idea being that I played it pretty fast and loose, both in the inn and in this fight, and I have learned my lesson. I can't be reckless like this anymore.
Absolutely. What is it? What is the sort of the final strike that brings him down? Does he go to a knee? Does he get knocked out?
Yeah, I think he has brought this hammer around, and I try to do a butterfly kick over it. So the hammer comes down, and I'm coming up to do that, and I'm also lashing out with the sword. I'm not trying to kill him because, I mean, I understand his grievance. Okay. And so with the flat of my saber, I'm just going to like bash him across the face as hard as I can. And it's just like bullet time for a second. You know, I barely slide over the hammer. I just smack, and he like turns around, does a 180, and then the hammer falls and he tumbles to the ground.
Another crash as he, falls into one of the wine casks there and is out cold. Even as his associates are kind of nursing their bruises and running off.
Yeah. And Waiting Heron is nursing his own bruises too. He got a couple scrapes from fighting the group, and he's definitely got like a big bruise on his chest that's going to form from one of the hammer blows that hit. I think as soon as it's over, he's just like, oh, I can't live like this anymore.
We'll come back to you in just 1 second. I want to hear the conversation with you, but I want to cut back to what does the are you still the false crown prince? Are you still disguised as the crown prince?
Nah, after that guy like backs away out of the scene, I sigh and I like bend down to pick up the fan that I threw down on the ground for dramatic effect. And then I kind of like brush it off, and I'm like, why did I do this? And then I also take off this outer robe. And then I I guess I don't have my pack with me because I don't have my horse. I stuff it into my sleeve.
Okay.
And then I start wandering back.
Do you go towards where the fighting is, or are you heading back to your horse?
I'm going to go find my horse. I think I whistle for it.
Okay. So I think that when you get done, Wei, you will look into that clearing. And of course, she's already changed. But you will see the object of your affection there walking. I mean, you don't see the crown prince anywhere. You don't see anybody else around. You don't know why. Maybe these guys were after her. What do you do?
Be a real creep, and I'm going to tail her.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I'm infatuated with her, right? But I'm also like, I also need to like feel like I need to. She's out in these woods and doesn't know, so I'm gonna sort of follow along. At some point, she'll see these like this fight scene with all of these darts, all of these like signature darts in the in the trees and the bodies and that sort of thing. But I think that's what I'm going to do is I'm trying to I'm going to observe and keep myself.
I want you to roll inner conflict.
Yeah. Anything except my style element.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm gonna roll with wood, which is -1. Let's see. There's the 5.
All right. Well, the good news is, because you rolled inner conflict, you get an XP, and because you failed, you get an XP.
All right.
And I think as you go to like tail her, and you still got that bandit mask on. You make a misstep. There is that crack of the leaves or something, and Agatha, you will turn and you will see this masked figure kind of watching you from the edge of the woods.
Okay. Do I recognize them?
No, he's got a mask on, so you can't tell who it is.
Great. I think when I turn around at the noise, the first thing I do is throw my fan at them.
Does it? Are you trying to hit them, or does it go into the tree? What do we see on screen? Do you imagine?
Oh no, I'm trying to hit them. So, but it's you. I guess you can decide, Eric, if you are hit.
What do you think, Wei? I think it's appropriate, given your failure, that maybe you do have to at least dodge or something there.
I wouldn't mind if it like knocked, if it like if it's like a sharp fan, if it like cut through the branch that I was standing on and I end up having to like jump down onto the ground.
Cool.
I like that. Yeah. So he drops to the ground.
All right, I'll stride forward, I suppose.
She seems very confident for someone who doesn't know martial arts.
Yeah.
What do you do, Wei?
And I sort of put up my hands. I'm like, Your Highness, I'm not here to harm you.
Oh, by the way, I'm not dressed as the Crown Prince anymore.
Right, but you're still, right?
You're still a
oh, I'm still.
royal.
Oh, okay, sure, cool. So you know who I am.
And I think I like look like my eyes give a little like I'm a little sheepish, like, because I do know who you are, and I'm into you. I can't admit it out loud, so I just sort of stand there, but my eyes sort of betray that I know who you are.
Okay, I guess I'll keep walking forward.
Okay.
Is this a new costume for the Royal Guard? And I think I'm like 2 arms lengths away from you now.
Sure. and I there are lots of bandits in these woods, sinister types, and it isn't safe for you to be out here. I saw an opportunity to, well, I thought it was the Crown Prince, but here you are.
For a bandit, you seem to know a lot about my family.
Well, I said other bandits were in this woods. I am not a bandit.
Okay, I may believe you if you show your face. Am I trying to hearts and minds?
Oh, that's that. This is a hard thing because this is key to his role identity.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're trying to pressure him to do that, Agatha, I think that's actually PvP.
PvP, yes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking this might end in a duel.
Okay.
Cool.
So you're trying to emotionally get him to remove that mask, right? That's what you want him to do.
Yes.
What do you want to offer him?
Oh, I don't know. I feel like
I know.
Oh, okay. Yes, tell me.
That you would admire this dashing figure.
Of like your actual self or this not bandit?
It doesn't matter, either one.
That you'll be intrigued?
Right.
Yeah. How do I do this? I don't have my fan anymore. Wait, do I? Yes. No, I don't because I threw it. Oh, sad. I'm gonna pick up my fan from the ground again, and what do I do? So it's a half mask, or is it what kind of mask?
Yes, it's a half mask, so you can see my eyes, but my nose and my mouth is covered.
Oh, so is it a cloth mask?
Yes, it's a cloth mask.
Okay, I'm holding my fan, and it's like probably pretty battered, honestly. And there's like a leaf like stuck in it, but I'm pointing it towards you, and you think that I don't know martial arts, right? So it doesn't seem like a threat, and it's and I'm going to just touch your chest, and then run it up slowly until it gets to the bottom of the cloth that's like covering your face.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say, why don't you show me your real face?
Okay, so she has made this offer. She's gonna be infatuated. If do you wish to accept that offer?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, then
I'll take it.
What happens?
So do I get to just pull it off, or
I think yeah,
you
I'm in a little bit of resistance where I like back up a little bit, but not enough that like the cloth falls off the fan, and then I let you raise it up so that you can sort of get a sense of what my face is.
Okay. Huh.
And I think in the distance we hear Bursting Crane coming back, calling for you. And I think that's going to be our cliffhanger moment there on your end of things with that revelation. What is the conversation between Glorious and Horizon and Wading Heron?
It starts like this. Apologize.
Wading Heron has his sword still held in his hand, but it's held down at his side. And his unflinching gaze is looking at Glorious Horizon. And he says, "Your weapon is exquisite. And in your hands, it is an instrument of divine beauty. I must atone for what I've done. And I can't apologize until then."
You're correct.
I must leave you now.
Okay. Yes, you must.
He kind of looks around like he didn't expect it to be that easy. And he's like, dang it, how do I want to approach this? I must, you'll let me leave?
And she kind of goes, well, yeah, you said you're going to apologize, right? Tell him.
Yes. Yes, I swear it. I swear it upon this blade.
Get to it.
Okay. I will. I won't let you down. And so I sheath my sword. And I think I just immediately like leap up over the wall of the courtyard. But I immediately then turned back around, and I still want to try and tail Glorious Horizon.
Glorious Horizon, are you taking any steps to be stealthy?
None at all.
Okay. So I think that's the comedic moment we leave on, is her putting that away, getting the spear up, and heading off like, yes, I've done right. And we can see Waiting Heron on the roofs behind as he follows there. That's where we're going to stop for tonight. We're going to start next time. We'll see if there's any follow-up from those particular scenes, or we may hard frame to get everybody back together, essentially to get the paths crossed so we can get everybody connected. In a normal game, I would have had people highlight an entanglement, and they would get, if they engage with it, they would get 3 XP. And if they engage with the other entanglement, they get 1. But for one-shots, what I usually do is just give you the full 4 XP that you could possibly get for the session, so everybody can mark 4 XP. Any questions?
I just have a comment. This was a lot of fun.
Oh, good.
This was a blast. You know, it was weird. I realized right at the beginning that I've consumed a lot of wuxia media, but I haven't played a wuxia game.
Oh, really?
Ever in my life. And so I sat down and I was like, wait a second. Do I know how to play this character? But there was enough entanglement stuff to rely on that I think, you know, I had a guide. It was really helpful.
Well, I enjoy it. I love these characters. I love you going hard in, Agatha, on getting super complicated there. That's a great character. So awesome.
Yeah, I'm very happy with how much court intrigue I get to have. That because I've been watching something that has a lot of that, so I'm like, oh, I'm so satisfied.
Awesome. So I'm going to stop the recording. At the beginning of next session, we'll check in with everybody's entanglements and make sure everybody's happy with those. They can rewrite them if necessary. We'll play for the full time next time. And usually I stop about 10 minutes before the end to do a debrief then at the end of that next session. So we will do that then. I'm going to stop the broadcast.